The Social Security Administration has announced new restrictions on benefits that's going to affect both new and existing beneficiaries. And this came in an internal document that the Social Security Administration distributed to the administration's workers that is supposed to direct them on how to handle these new categories of cases. And it is one of those things that they're not going to do a big press release about, but the internal document highlights ways that they're going to restrict benefits for people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits that do not comply with this new regulation, or new people who are coming on Social Security or disability benefits that fail to comply with this directive. And so my job is to read this internal document. I'm going to give you the name of it, and then I am going to then tell you what the document says. The document is a Social Security internal memo. It's EM 25040. That is what it's called. And in this memo, they've outlined how the Social Security Administration is going to move forward handling this specific type of cases. So the EM 25040 is supposed to show how Social Security processes payments going forward. My name is Kwame Kwade. I am a government benefits expert. For 15 years, I've been helping seniors get the retirement benefits they deserve. My job is to bring you anything on Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps, and any personal finance issues that affect seniors. And if you are new here, welcome. Thank you for being here. Do me a favor, go into the comment section and let me know your city and your state. And if you've been watching this channel for a while, I'm glad you continue to support this channel. Thank you for your support. So what is this new regulation and restriction about? It is called the Social Security Emergency Restriction on Paper Checks and what you need to know. So effective September 30th, 2025, the Social Security Administration will stop issuing paper checks for all Social Security beneficiaries, including retirement benefits, SSDI, and SSI beneficiaries. Now, here's where it affects you. All new and existing beneficiaries must receive their payment via direct deposit into a bank or a direct express card. If you don't know what a direct express card is, it is a debit card that is established by the US government to help Social Security and disability beneficiaries receive their federal benefit payments. So I'm going to explain what a direct express card is and how you can get one if you do not have a bank account, or you are frustrated with fees on your bank accounts because you're getting Social Security benefits on a bank account and they're charging you all these fees. The Direct Express card helps you eliminate those fees, and it is backed by the Treasury Department. It's a special debit card that is backed by the U.S. Treasury Department. So as I mentioned, all new and existing beneficiaries must receive their Social Security payments via direct deposit to a bank account or a Direct Express card. The change is part of the federal government's push to modernize the system, reduce fraud, and cut costs associated with mailing paper checks. You may have heard that DOGE made a lot of changes to the Social Security Administration when Elon Musk was in charge, and one of them was to reduce fraud and waste. And they identified that a lot of seniors were still getting Social Security benefits via paper checks. And so this particular regulation is to eliminate that fraud, because checks were getting lost in the mail, checks were being rerouted by fraudsters into a separate address. And so seniors who were waiting for their Social Security check were getting their checks cashed by thieves, because they would change your Social Security address and have your check sent somewhere else. So electronic payment is supposed to deal with that. The change is part of the federal government's push to reduce fraud and the costs associated with mailing paper checks. The Social Security Administration will no longer offer the option to receive paper check when you apply for benefits. So if you're about to apply for Social Security benefits, you are not going to be able to elect to get paper checks, because that is not going to be an option any longer. The rule is based on an executive order that President Trump issued. It's called Executive Order 14247, and is reinforced by recent federal laws. Now, like anything the federal government does, there are exemptions and waivers. So if you still feel the need to get paper checks, if you feel like you cannot receive electronic payments and you still need to get your check by paper, I'm going to show you who is exempted from this restriction. So let's walk through that. So there are waivers and extensions. So who can still get a paper check? Well, waivers are extremely limited and must be approved by the US Treasury. So previously, waivers to this rule was approved by the Social Security Administration. Now, because of this executive order and because of the new law, if you want a waiver to be able to get paper checks, you have to apply to the US Treasury. And individuals born between May 1st, 1921, which is such a ridiculous thing to even have to say, may continue to receive paper checks, but there are very few people. So they're saying that unless you are age 104 and older, you cannot get paper checks. Those are the only people that are automatically exempted from this rule. So if you've lived long enough to be 104, congratulations, but you are the only person that is automatically exempted from getting paper checks for Social Security and disability benefits. Now, there are other exemptions which I'm going to walk you through. These are some of the other people that are exempted from this rule. Severe mental impairment, preventing use of electronic payment. So if you don't have a representative payee available that can step in for you and receive your benefit, if you have a severe mental impairment, then you can get paper checks. The second category of people who are allowed to get Social Security paper checks is those that are living in remote areas without access to electronic payment infrastructure. So that is what they are defining as an exemption. So if you live in a very remote area and you are not close to a bank, or access to a bank is very difficult for you, then you can get an exemption approved by the US Treasury Department in order to still continue to get paper Social Security checks. Otherwise, you are not allowed. And then the third category of people who are exempted are people who are not eligible for Direct Express card, debit card, due to unique circumstances. For example, card suspension. So let me take this opportunity to explain what the Direct Express card is. This is a debit card. The federal government rarely creates debit cards, but this was one of the things that the federal government did when they moved from paper checks to electronic checks. They realized that a lot of seniors were paying bank fees, $10, $20, even $30 a month in bank fees. Or if you are getting a prepaid debit card because you don't qualify for a bank account, those prepaid debit cards are expensive. They have carried large fees, monthly fees. They nickel and dime you every step of the way. So the government, the Treasury Department, created a debit card called the Direct Express debit card. The unique thing about the Direct Express debit card is that it can only receive federal government benefits. So it is not like a regular bank account that you can just, receive other forms of payment. So if you're a senior citizen and you are getting Social Security and you're also working, you cannot send your paycheck from your employer to your Direct Express card. You can only use the Direct Express card to receive government benefits. And you can use it as a regular debit card. You can make payments, you can make online bill pay, you can buy things online, pay in person, you can get cash. And the unique thing about the Direct Express card that is really good for seniors is that it comes with less fees. They are not nickeling and diming you about everything. You can withdraw a certain amount of money, maybe twice a month without any fee. You can also, make bill payments, but the only thing you cannot do is that you cannot add money to the card. So you cannot go to the ATM and add money to your card, or you cannot deposit a check into your Direct Express account, but you can use it for like any other debit card. And the biggest advantage that that card comes with is it comes with less fees. The problem the Direct Express card has been having over the last couple of years is that customer service is atrocious. The government, like everything they do, outsourced the Direct Express card management to a private company, a bank. And over the last 10 years, I think recently they switched to a new bank that is supposed to be better after years of complaints from seniors about the fact that their cards are getting stolen. People, it's very easy to defraud Direct Express card holders, and that is hard to get customer service. So sometimes when your Direct Express card is compromised and you need to turn it off or you need to shut it down, it became very difficult to do that because that you can't get hold of customer service. And so that became a very big issue and a very big negative point for the Direct Express card program. And so they have transitioned after years of congressional complaints where people have gotten their senators and their Congress people involved. The government, the US Treasury Department, finally found a new bank that is supposed to make the Direct Express program better. So if you want to get electronic payments starting in September, you cannot get paper checks anymore. Effective September 30th, 2025, you cannot get paper checks. So if you want to get electronic payments and you cannot get access to a bank account because for some reason you are not eligible for a bank account, and a lot of people are not, because if you've gotten your bank account closed by your bank and they've kind of prevented you or restricted you from getting a bank account, then the Direct Express debit card is an option that allows you to be able to get electronic payments and still not get nickeled and dimed with a lot of fees. So how do you apply for exemptions? If you think that you are one of the three categories of people that still have to receive paper checks, you don't like electronic payments, you want to get your Social Security check or disability check in your hand, in the mail, and you want to apply for the exemptions, here's what you need to do. You need to contact the United States Treasury Department and the Treasury Electronic Payment Solutions Center. So I'm going to give you a phone number to call, and that is how you get in touch with them. You're going to call 1-800-967-5042, and then you're going to apply for a waiver. Now, here's the thing. Social Security Administration field offices cannot approve waivers. That is a new change. For a long time, you could have gotten an approval or a waiver approval done in your local Social Security Administration office. Now, that is no longer an option. Because of DOGE and the new executive order, that is no longer an option. You have to contact the Treasury Department, and it's only the Treasury Department that can approve waivers for people who want to still continue to get paper checks and not do electronic payments. So what are the consequences if you decide that you're not going to switch? If you're getting paper checks and you refuse to switch to electronic, what's going to happen to your Social Security or your disability check? Well, I'm going to tell you in a second. So if you do not set up electronic payments or receive a Treasury approved waiver by the deadline, which is September 30th, you will experience disruptions. Your check will not come in, meaning that you are likely not to receive your Social Security check after September the 30th, period. There is no ifs and buts about it. This is a rule that they are standing behind. And so I wanted to bring this to you so that you can make plans. If you know somebody in your family that is still getting paper checks, forward this video to them today or share it with them, because they need to know this and start taking measures. They either has to get a bank account from a local bank or a local credit union, or apply for a Direct Express debit card to receive their federal government payments. Or if they fall between the three categories of people that can get a waiver, then they can apply for the waiver through the U.S. Treasury Department. Now, the waiver may take time to get approved. And so between now and September, you don't have a lot of time because we're already in July. You have the end of July, you have August, and then September. So you have about 2.5 months. and then this regulation is going to go into effect. And if you don't comply, they are going to stop sending you your Social Security and disability check until you figure something out. So Social Security Administration staff are instructed to inform claimants of the new requirements. So if you call them on the phone, you go to an office for an appointment, they are supposed to tell you that this restriction is coming and to help you enroll or direct you to enroll in a Direct Express debit card. Now, if your waiver is pending, if you apply for a waiver and is pending or is denied, paper checks may be delayed or stopped. So I'm just letting you know that your Social Security check could be stopped if you don't take action now. So what is the big deal about all of this? Why is the government all of a sudden concerned about paper checks when for a long time they've allowed a lot of seniors to get paper checks without a problem? Well, the first one is fraud prevention. Paper checks are 16 times more likely to be lost, stolen, or altered compared to electronic payments. And that's just a fact. People can reroute your paper checks to a different address. They can alter the checks, and they can just steal them completely. You know, a lot of, people have lost checks to post office staff. I mean, I'm not saying that post office staff are stealing your checks, but there have been cases where that has happened. There's been cases where people have had their checks stolen in their mailboxes or rerouted, where somebody will fill out a form, change your address to your Social Security account, and then reroute your check to a different address and be cashing your checks. The next reason why the government is doing this is to save money. The government spends significantly more on processing paper checks than on digital payments. So it's easier for them to send payments electronically to the millions, 64 million people that are on Social Security than to, send paper checks. It's just a fact. And then it's also for efficiency. Electronic payments are faster, they are safer, and more reliable for both the government and for Social Security beneficiaries. So, it's just a more efficient way, and it's 2025, and it's just a better way to do things. Now, what should you do now? If you're a senior citizen that is impacted by this, what can you do today? Well, the first thing you can do is open a bank account or sign up for a Direct Express debit card as soon as possible without delay. You cannot sit on this because this process may take a while, and you just have a few weeks to change from paper to electronic payment in order to avoid an interruption in your benefits. And then contact your local Social Security field office if you need help with the transition. If you need help with applying for a Direct Express card, if you need help understanding how to apply for a waiver so that you can still continue to get paper check, then contact your local Social Security office. Now, here's the thing you need to know. To reach your local Social Security office, you can just not walk in anymore. That is done. You have to make an appointment for them to be able to schedule you for an appointment, so you can't walk into any field office anymore. Now, if you are confident that you qualify for an exemption, then call the Treasury Department Electronic Solutions Center to request a waiver. And I gave you that number, and I'm going to give it to you again. So if you know somebody that wants to continue to get paper checks for Social Security or disability benefits, whether it's survivor benefits, spousal benefits, retirement benefits, SSDI, SSI, and they want to get paper checks and they qualify for continuing to get paper checks, they can call 1-800-967-5042 to request a waiver. Now, as I mentioned, your local Social Security office cannot approve the waiver. It has to go to the U.S. Treasury Department. They are the only ones that can approve a waiver going forward. Now, you also have to be prepared to provide documentation, in some cases, a notarized statement explaining why you deserve an exemption from this electronic payment rule. And you have to act quickly. Delays in switching or applying for a waiver may result in missed payment. And that's just something you need to know. Your payments will be delayed. That's why in my thumbnail I put emergency, because this is an emergency. You have what, 6 weeks to figure this out, to get the process in motion, because once you figure it out, remember, it's going to take time for them to 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 get your new payment worked out. So it's important to take action. After September 30th, 2025, almost all Social Security recipients must receive benefits electronically. Paper checks will only continue for a very tiny group of people who are exempted from this rule. So seniors must act now to ensure that your payments are not interrupted. Now, if you have any questions at all about this, let me know in the comment section below. And also, as always, before I leave, I want to share something with you about the number that you see on your screen, the Medicare number you see on your screen. That is our partner, Chapter Medicare. If you haven't heard me talk about them, you've missed something. Chapter is our partner for Medicare because President Trump recently sued a whole bunch of Medicare advisory companies that were misleading seniors and getting them into the wrong Medicare plan. Well, Chapter is the real deal. Why? Because they were born as a company out of frustration. One of the co-founders realized how his parents had struggled to sign up for Medicare and wound up paying more money than they should have paid, and that motivated him to start this company. They are there to help you, be in your corner, and help you get into the right Medicare plan. Here's the reason: 90% of all seniors are in the wrong Medicare plan. Why? Because there are 24,000 plans out there to sort through, and a lot of seniors just pick the easiest one they can find because there's just too much information they have to deal with. Well, Chapter can be your partner. We've sent 2,000 of our viewers to them, and they've all had an amazing experience getting into a better plan because Chapter wants to be your advocate. So call the number on your screen today, right now, 539-205-2147. Or if you don't want to call, you can fill out a form. I'm going to put it in the comment section in the description of this video. And you fill out the form, and they'll reach out to you tomorrow and help you navigate this. Guess what they will do? They will review your plan and tell you if you're in the right plan. And as I said, 90% of all seniors are in the wrong Medicare plan. So if you are in the right plan, they'll tell you. And if you're not, now they can help you find the right plan that fits your budget, fits your needs, and fits the help that you need, the services that you need. You have paid into Medicare. Get the best plan that is available to you. So call Chapter today. Here are the people you're going to be talking to when you call them. They have lots of live agents. These are real people that will help you get into a better plan. They are A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, tons of 5-star reviews online. These guys are the real deal. So give them a call today. And as always, I want to make sure that I'm bringing you the latest news and updates like I just did. So if you like what you heard, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow on another live video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow in the next video.